Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We have a pox in our house and I think I've been infected. I feel pretty ill, full of flu, so over the next few days it might be a little bit more quiet than usual, but I thought today what we would do is have a look at a few data mines from Chabby. These data mines have been coming out the last few days and most of them are basically talking about some changes to the event vehicles, but nothing too major, which is why so I thought I'd put them all basically in the same video, and we can kind of go through them and see what's going on. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe. Let's get started. The first change to event vehicle is the IR93B, and this one seems a little bit odd to me because I'm pretty sure this was kind of standardized for a lot of vehicles. It no longer gets extra backups when purchased. I thought that was for event vehicles and premiums. Maybe it isn't for event vehicles, but that seems kind of weird because if people obviously want to run it in arcade battles, they're going to want more than one spawn. But yeah, it just doesn't get any now. You have to actually purchase them yourself or use universal backups, which kind of sucks since everything else seems to have it standardized. The MB151C1 also got changed. So what they did with this is they changed its EFS. Its EFS now actually works, before it didn't, and now it has a duration of 5 seconds, and they made it automatic instead of manual. So if your engine gets set on fire, your vehicle will automatically try and put it out, and then, kind of go from there. Remember, when EFS is used, it does kill your engine, so it gives you a little bit more survivability, but in most circumstances, it doesn't. The empty mass of the vehicle was reduced by about 250 kilos, which is quite nice, and the max fuel mass is up by 1 kilo, so basically the vehicle should be lighter. Then also the oil mass has been dropped from 29 to 18 kilos, and the stat card has been changed as well to reflect, I'm guessing, the actual real values of the vehicle. The max speed was way too high compared to what it should be. It was at 550, and now it's at 460 kilometers an hour. Its max altitude is at 4,500. Sorry, its max speed altitude is at 4,500 meters, and its max altitude is 9,500 meters. The climb rate is now 9.5 meters per second, but remember, this is all stat card stuff, so it doesn't really matter that much. Stat card is very good for averages, but that's really about it. One of the things that they could add to the stat card, which I think would actually be really cool, is a graph of performance of vehicle based on the actual overall the actual performance of the vehicle at different altitudes. That would be cool, but we don't have that yet. For the X-Ray, they've actually changed the engine. It was the Hispano Suiza 12Y45. Now it's the Gnome Roan 14N35. So kind of makes sense. And the mass of it has been increased to 622 kilos from 510. So a lot of little changes to the MB151, kind of making it more realistic. But the question is, how does this affect its performance? I feel like with the 151, it's still a vehicle that's not really that useful unless you take it into ground as kind of like a support defensive fighter, or if you take it into arcade. But then the guns might let you down. The TADU-D for China, so the B that they added, the basic desert camouflage has been changed from forest to desert, so it would actually make you spawn in it in desert maps, which is quite funny, but no longer. So that's good because you don't want to be wandering around a forest in a bright desert camo. The PBY5A, also the light camouflage, was upscaled to 4K. So if you like drip, then you have even better drip now. Now, the other update that they did this week, which was quite a big one, is they shifted around all of the premium vehicles that they removed from the game. And this includes stuff like the Marat, the P16, the A5, the ZTZ96A, the F104S, the VLT2, and the Spitfire LF Mark 9, the Weizmanns for Israel, and also the M51 for Israel too. So you won't be able to see those anymore in the game if you don't have them, and that sucks. All the vehicles themselves, I really don't like the practice where they remove vehicles from sale and then kind of bring them back either as GE vehicles for certain events, or if they have plans to like replace them with other premiums. It kind of sucks. I wish there was just kind of, you know, this setup where people could just pick what they wanted to buy, especially since this affects sales in the future. Stuff like a ZTZ96A being removed is quite a big thing. The same with stuff like the A5, and also the P16 only being in the game for like a few months, it felt like, is really sad to see, since that was going to be a big banger for, you know, the Swiss coming in for Germany. So unless they have like different plans for it, whether it's bringing it back as a G vehicle or bringing it back in different ways, it just kind of sucks. The same with like Israel. Israel right now, if you actually have a look at their tech trees, if you don't own the M51 and if you don't own Eric Weisman's, you just don't get to have a premium until rank 6 for the aviation tree. And for ground, your only option is the Magak 3 ERA, which once again is not exactly a fantastic option, especially if you're starting off the tech tree and you have no crew skills. So you're just going to be sat at 8-0 without any crew skills, which is just nuts. It was already bad being at 6-0 with no crew skills, but now you're at 8-0. And also, I wonder what they're going to do with the Israeli tech tree. Like, are they going to set it up in a way so it's going to have like a rank 1 to 3? Maybe they're going to add a sub-tech tree to it. Who knows? Like, there's many different things that they could do. It just seems like an odd maneuver removing them right now, since, you know, we're probably at least a month or two away from any major updates. So that means you have that period of time where people won't be able to grind it out, which just kind of seems a bit weird. So hopefully they have a think about it. Hopefully they try and sort it out. The good old D13 and the A6E tram got hidden from everyone now, so they're gone unless you own them, which kind of sucks once again. Vehicles, which in general are quite nice, but yeah, what can you do? There was another update with the MB151C1, and they basically put the stat card back to what all of the old values were, so nothing changed on it. And then the X-ray engine, they also changed back as well to the Hispano Suiza 12Y45. So either somebody had got the wrong information, or they had decided that it wasn't worth doing and they wanted to move it around. So there you go. Actually, nothing changed on the MB151. It was all an illusion, which is something what happens in the files every so often, where everything is just all over the place. Then you have some tech tree changes, and I think this is based on some of the kind of additions they added, and also because certain updates are coming in or have come in, and, you know, the good old timed thing is changing. So if you didn't know, for the last update, the 12th of January is the day where everything kind of disappears on the timers. So basically yesterday is when all the timers disappeared, or should have disappeared. This basically means that now they're going to have to do the tech tree changes to make sure that people can grind through them without having to research all the vehicles that are there, because there are certain areas of the game where you have to do that. So for the aviation tech tree for Japan, obviously that got a bunch of Thai vehicles, right? And it changed how many vehicles you needed per rank. So for example, the number of vehicles needed for Japan Tier 5 to unlock Tier 4, sorry, that's written the wrong way around, isn't it? Oh no, sorry, my bad. So the number of vehicles needed in Japan Tier 5 to unlock Tier 6 is 5 instead of 4. And then for 6 to 7, it is now 5 instead of 3. And 7 to 8 is 4 instead of 1. So they've basically made it where you have to research all of the vehicles in each of the areas anyway, which is basically what it was before. I thought that this would mean that there would be a little bit more leeway, but it looks like no. You're going to have to go down all of the tech tree lines anyway. When you have a look at rank 6, if you don't have the premiums, there's only 5 vehicles in it. So basically you have to get them all anyway. For rank 5, it's slightly different. Obviously, they only added the F84G, but if you have a look at rank 7, there is now 5 vehicles in the tech tree, So now you have to research 4 of them. And, you know, they're set up in 3 lines, so you're going to have to research all the lines anyway. So it doesn't actually make any difference to what you had before to grind. It actually made it basically the same. The number of vehicles needed in the French Tier 4 Blue Water Tree Navy to unlock Tier 5 is now 3 instead of 2, which is obviously because they added some vehicles in there. They added the Galissonière, so that is the 3rd vehicle that you need access to. Shouldn't be too hard to get through, though. The Galissonière, it's only 89,000 RP, so you can just kind of grind it out with the other ones. Generally, the cruisers for France haven't been as fun as the destroyers were, but they've been okay. They're nothing too bad. The good old Guichin was actually really fun to play, the more recent one that they added. Also, optional research skips for the previous update have been removed, except for the Aviate-S Late, which currently doesn't require the A7E Japan, which seems a little bit odd. I think they may have just forgotten about it, but yeah, all of the skips have gone now since the time limit is out, so you have to research everything properly again, and I feel like that's generally okay. No issues with that overall. The Thai tech tree has been really nice to see for the Japanese. I hope we see some ground stuff as well, and also we see some kind of refiguring of what they're going to do with Israel, and also some of the other nations in the game. The next port of call when it comes to War Thunder, though, is probably the Battle Pass, since, you know, the Battle Pass only has 8 days left, just less or just more than a week. So if you're trying to get to goals on it, make sure to focus on that. Also, the page of history is going on as well, because that's always wondering about. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.